What I'll do is today we will have quick introduction to Apache Pig, and we'll also try and install it and try running a few examples. And once we do that, depending on how much we are able to cover and whether it's a good introduction for you from a practical point of view, so accordingly we will then decide what to take up during the next two sessions, that is during the next week. Instead of just rushing through a quick introduction of Apache Pig during the last week, and in case the time is not sufficient, it will just be a very high level overview. So instead, I'm just shifting that session today. And if we are able to have a good overview today, then next week we'll utilize for again MapReduce, Java, or some such topic. If we're not able to comprehensively cover it today, when next week also we will utilize for the remaining part of pig. And the reason, just to once again clarify the point, is that it's an important technology from a practical and industrial point of view. A lot of companies are interested in having such skills, and although that's not going to be a part of your final external exam syllabus. I'm clarifying this once again. Still, Apache Pig is a very important technology for us to at least have an overview of. So that's what we'll start discussing. Just share the screen and we'll have a brief introduction of what is this technology about and why should we use it before we start working with it. Okay, so I hope you can see the PPT, and if you can't, then just let me know. So Apache Pig, like Hadoop, also started its journey around the same timelines, so the early 2000s, and it also originated at Yahoo, like Hadoop. And a very interesting point that we should first notice is why is there a need for something like Apache Pig? So we have in detail discussed what do we mean by Hadoop, what are its components, what do we mean by MapReduce programming, and we've also seen that uh, MapReduce programming is nothing but it's a uh, way of writing the code so that we structure the code into two or more main parts. The first of which is the map task, and the last task is the reduce task. And in between, we do have other tasks which we may or may not do depending on the requirements. So things such as, for example, shuffle, sort, and combine. All these intermediate steps do happen sometimes, and sometimes they are combined in the reduce step. Sometimes maybe they are not even required. So depending on the task at hand, MapReduce programming helps us divide the logic into two clear tasks, map and reduce, and a few subtasks. Now, having written this code in Python and Java, we also have noticed that maybe writing the code in Python is a bit easier because you, the programmer, has a lot of control. And in the case of Java, some things are happening behind the scenes, and therefore understanding it is maybe slightly more difficult. But essentially, it achieves also the same objective, which is given an input data set. We want to perform some calculations, tabulations, counting, finding out certain information about the data items in that data set. So all of that can be done using MapReduce, and the Main thing, of course, is that the map tasks can run in parallel on several nodes of a cluster, and same is the case with the reduced task. And as a result, Hadoop can organize our MapReduce code to execute in parallel on several machines at the same time. And therefore, the execution is hopefully much faster. But then, over a period of time, what started to happen was people started complaining that MapReduce programming in Hadoop was a bit complicated. And when we uh, hear this statement that MapReduce programming in Hadoop is a bit complicated, we also have to remember that we are mainly talking about Java here, because Python, as we know, is that way is a recent phenomenon. So when we say recent, not of course very recent, but compared to Java, it is recent. So by the time the Python support for MapReduce programming had come up and Python had become a very popular language, until then at least the programmer community had to majorly program using Java. And of course, there was another language called as Scala. And initially, there was also support for MapReduce in C++ and others. But in general, the programming remained quite complex since Python itself had not become popular by then. And hence, it did not also have support for MapReduce. So when MapReduce became a part of the Python coding pattern, things did become a bit easier. But by then, people had already sort of lodged the complaint saying that it's not easy to program in MapReduce, and can we have an alternative? The alternative was then people said, can we have SQL type of code where you simply write queries? But then people also said, no, we don't want also directly SQL type of code, because sometimes we really cannot accomplish something using SQL if it's not to do with data alone. That is, if let's say we have to write some procedures, something that is not related to the data that we are processing, then SQL is not going to be useful. So can we have a mixture of the two? Can we have, let's say, a programming language like language, but not so complex as, let's say, Java using MapReduce? And you also don't want a fully SQL-like language, which is maybe very high level, but then it does not have anything procedural. And hence a mixture was sort of born. And that result is what is called as the Pig Latin language. Okay, so it is considered to be somewhere between a traditional MapReduce based coding and SQL. So it's neither MapReduce nor SQL, but it gives us features of both, which means that your code will run like MapReduce, which means that the code will be split and not split. The code will run in parallel on several machines wherever the data is located, like MapReduce. So your code will go to that machine and execute. So if you have a cluster of 20 machines in Hadoop and you write, let's say, a Pig Latin script, as it's called, then it means that your Pig Latin script will also execute on 20 machines in parallel at the same time. On each node, the code will execute. And like MapReduce, the outputs of all those steps will be gathered, and then they will be handed over to the next step, which again will go and run on these 20 machines. Okay, so in effect, it is like splitting your task into 20 nodes who will run it in parallel at the same time, combine them, again run on individual machines, again combine them, and so on. Now the question is, why is it called pig? So there is no answer. Initially, it was simply called as the language. Maybe it was a lack of creativity, and then it really started becoming a success. So then people said, "Oh, we can't continue to call it as the language. It has to have some name." And then someone, just for fun, said, "Let's call it as pig," and somehow that name stuck. Okay, so there is no abbreviation here, or no acronym, or no history. It just uh, called as pig because someone started calling it as pig, and that's how that name simply stuck. The important point again, most of pig is also written in Java, and that is why it is platform independent. So you can think of this as an abstraction layer on top of Java. So one option is we write the MapReduce code in Java itself. Then, as we have seen, although over a period of time we start understanding the code, and we know exactly what is happening in MapReduce. Initially, at least, that code is slightly difficult. So this can be considered like a wrapper or an abstraction layer on top of Java, which means that we write code in Pig, and then that code will actually be executed inside the JVM, which means that the code will actually get translated into the appropriate Java MapReduce commands, and then it will get executed. But while this makes it platform independent because of the JVM concept, it also gives us this added benefit that we are saved from the internal complexity. So we can write code which is at a much higher level, like SQL, but not exactly SQL. Okay, so that is what we mean by Apache. Any questions before we move forward? All right. So what exactly is Apache Pig? So it's an engine for executing operations on top of Hadoop. It's like a programming environment that is given to us. And you can think of it as, let's say, a set of instructions which will allow you to execute code which you can use to operate on files that are stored inside Hadoop HDFS. For example, you say, I want to pick up a file from HDFS, read the file, do the following processing, and I want to store this output back. It includes a language called as Pig Latin for expressing these data flows. In other words, it's like the grammar. So Pig Latin is the syntax or the grammar or the structure of the language, and Pig is called as the final product. We execute Pig Latin scripts. That is, they are written according to the structure or semantics or syntax of Pig Latin, but the product itself is called as Apache Pig. It includes operators for traditional data operations, things like join, sort, filter, for which we may have to write a lot of code in traditional programming languages. So here it's very easy. And another interesting concept that it supports is called as user defined functions, or UDFs, which we will not be discussing, by the way, but I'll just mention what is UDF. This user defined function, or UDF, allows you to write code inside, let's say, our traditional Java or Python scripts. In other words, I have written, let's say, a pig program, and there is some point in my code where I feel that pig is not going to do this task for me anymore, because there are some instructions for which pig simply has no equivalent support to write the code in. I can't simply do anything in pig. In such cases, what we could do is we could write a user defined function, or UDF. For example, I may write a UDF, let's say in Python. Then from my pig program, I can actually say at this point, call this UDF, which is nothing but a Python script. So the Python script will execute whatever I could not do using pig, and then it will return me the results. And then I'll either continue with my pig script, or maybe my job is already done. So this UDF can be considered as an extension or an add-on to Apache Pig, wherever we are not able to write code in Pig, maybe because of syntax limitations, or maybe because we are not able to write the code uh, the way we want, and we are not able to produce the desired result. But we know how to do that in Python. So whatever is the easy part, you code that in Pig. Whatever is the complex part, you code in Python or Java. Define that as a UDF. So there'll be some rules which will say what does a UDF mean, how do you write it, how do you call from a pig script. And once you do that, you will be able to call this external script, perform your task, and come back to the pig code. But since it's a slightly complex topic, just in 3-4 hours we'll not be able to cover it, and as a result we will not discuss it, but be aware of it. Pig makes use of HDFS and MapReduce, of course. It reads files from HDFS and uses HDFS to store data between the MapReduce jobs, and writes the final output again back to HDFS, which means we start running a pig task, then it will run the equivalent of the mapper code on several machines. Whatever results those mapper functions produce, it will write those temporary results into HDFS, combine them, go to the next instruction, execute again on all the machines in parallel, and keep doing it until the final output is produced. And then that final output, it will once again write back to HDFS. So it has the ability to read or write data without HDFS. So just as in the case of Python, we have seen that we can run our Python MapReduce code locally, or we can write it inside, either execute inside HDFS. Here in Pig also, we have two options. One is we run the code inside HDFS, which means our input file has to be in HDFS. The output file that will get created will also get stored in HDFS. But since the developers don't like to do this every time, because it consumes a lot of time, there is an alternative, which is you run uh, your pig instructions just locally without using HDFS, which means that Hadoop has to be installed successfully, but Hadoop does not have to be in the running or executing state. Okay, so Hadoop can be installed on your machine. You have to verify that it's running and all that is fine. Then you actually stop all the Hadoop services, and then you say that I want to run Apache Pig in the local mode. Then what will happen is that even without Hadoop actively executing, you will be able to run Apache Pig in your local mode. So it will mimic whatever happens in HDFS, but it will now do it on the local drive, which means your input file will be in the local folder. The output that will create will also be in the local folder. And as a result, we say that if pig is run in the local mode, then Hadoop is not required. So when we say not required, needs clarification. We do require Hadoop to be installed successfully, but we don't require it to be in the executing or running state. That is the meaning of Hadoop not required. Okay. So what are the key PIC features? It uses the PIG Latin language, which is far easier than using Java for MapReduce tasks. We already mentioned this. It has multi-query approach, resulting in reduced development time. So which means that it allows you to operate on multiple data items, multiple data sets, uh, not restricted to one row at a time. It's a multi-query approach. Syntax is similar somewhat to SQL, and it has many built-in operators for joins, filters, grouping, ordering, and so on. It provides its own data types such as tuples, bags, maps. But frankly, we almost never ever need to worry about these internal data type unless and until we are doing really very intensive uh, big coding. So in those cases, we do have to see whether that data structure is a tuple or a bag or a map, and we may have to explicitly even code for it. But in most other situations, most common situations, these internal data types are almost hidden from the programmer. The programmer doesn't have to even worry that there are these data types in PIC because he never ever encounters such data types. And another very, very important point, it is automatically optimized. The programmer does not have to worry. So that's an important point because in other languages, we constantly have to worry about every fine tuning, every minute level of coding to make sure that the code is efficient. So here, the big execution engine says, I will take that responsibility. So you write the code and give it to me. How to optimize it internally, I will decide. Which, of course, does not give an excuse to programmers saying, go ahead and write some lousy code. That's not what this statement means. It means that once you have written reasonably sound pig code, we do not have to worry too much about over optimizing it. Okay, so don't write shabby code, don't write code which very clearly looks quite ugly. So once you have taken that precaution, then PIC says, don't worry beyond it. I'll take care of further optimizing. Again, any questions till now?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's now get to the hands-on part and the PIG installation. So you can download PIG from the Apache site, and I have installed PIG 0.17.0 simply to ensure compatibility with Java 1.8.1 and Hadoop versions, okay, so that we don't have difficulties in terms of different versions for different software. And once you download this particular file, it will simply have to be extracted like Hadoop, and it will create a directory. So there is no installation per se, but it's simply the downloading of the tar file and expanding the file, okay, or unzipping the file, and you should be able to create a folder structure which will look like this. So you'll have, in my case, I have dpig 0.17.0. Then inside we'll have bin, conf, and all other folders. Okay, so you have to get this file. Okay, so once you are able to do this, it is download and extract, ideally under say d:"pig" or an equivalent directory. Just raise your hand so that proceed once there is a reasonable count.
Sir, did you take the attendance? No, right?
No, I haven't. Okay, so this gives me an opportunity to complete the attendance. Thanks for reminding Tanmay. Division A, PRN 1, 2, 3, 4, 6,
PRNC present, sir.
9, 11, 13,
11 present.
15, 16, 18, 23, 28,
28 present.
37, 38,
Yes, sir.
40, 41, 44, 46, 8, 51, 52,
52 present, sir.
53, 54,
54 present, sir.
6,
56 present, sir.
59, 60,
Present, sir.
1, 9,
PRN 69 present, sir.
64, sorry, I missed. 70, 71,
71%, sir.
72,
So 72 present.
73,
73 present, sir.
74, 75, 76, 77, 78,
78 present, sir.
80, 80, 81, 84, 85, 87, 89, 91,
So 91 present, sir.
92,
Present, sir. 92.
95, 96, 97, 98, 100, 103, 104, 105, 107, 108,
Present, sir.
109,
So 46 present.
okay, just a minute. All right. Division B, PRN 5,
Present, sir.
7,
Present, sir.
8,
Present, sir.
Sir, 3 present.
10,
Present, sir.
12,
Present, sir.
13,
Present, sir.
14, 17,
17 present, sir.
19,
19 present, sir.
20,
20 present, sir.
22, 24,
Present, sir.
26,
Present, sir.
27,
Present, sir.
29,
Yes, sir. 29.
30,
Sir, 30 present.
eh, 31, 33, 34,
Present, sir. 34.
36,
Present, sir.
39, 43, 5, 7, 5,
55 present, sir.
7, 3, 8,
Present, sir.
3, 5, 6,
66. Present, sir.
7, 8, 79,
79. Present, sir.
82,
Present, sir.
83,
Present, sir.
86,
86 present, sir.
90,
90. Present, sir.
93, 99, 101, All right, I have looked at the chat messages and
Yes, appearance 70 present.
yes, I have,
Yeah, I
most of you would have been able to download and unzip this file. Can I have a quick count once again, please? Sorry, I just moved to another screen. So okay, all right. Let's move ahead. So I'm just sharing the screen again. First thing make sure that your Hadoop home is set correctly. The Hadoop home should be pointing to your Hadoop directory, not to the Hadoop bin directory. In many cases, it may be pointing to Hadoop bin because that's what the Hadoop installation guide sometimes says, but that is actually not correct. Hadoop home should be pointing to the Hadoop directory, not Hadoop bin. So just check this first. Just wait for a moment and then we'll go to the next step. Next, add the pig underscore home, all uppercase, and that should point to your pig directory. In my case, that is dpig pig 0.17.0. So Hadoop home should point to the Hadoop directory. Pig underscore home should point to the pig directory. And then the path should also include a reference to pig. Okay, so it should refer to the pig bin directory. Hadoop should point to Hadoop's main directory, Hadoop home. Pig home should point to pig's directory, and path should include pig backslash bin. Okay, so this is what is mentioned on the slide also. Pig home should be set to the pig directory, and path should include pig bin. And also make sure that Hadoop home is pointing to Hadoop directory. Then we have to make one change in the pig.cmd file, which is in the bin folder. I'll open this pig.cmd file in an editor, which is in the bin folder. Okay, so this is the file that we want to edit. Pig Windows command file. So pig.cmd. This is the change that we need to make. In your case, this most likely will be like this, and this line would not be there. So we have to comment this line and set the Hadoop bin path to Hadoop home / lib exec. This is in the pig.cmd file, which is in the bin folder of pig. Okay. Once this is done, if everything is done correctly, we are all set. It will mean that pig is installed and configured successfully. So it's very simple installation, nothing complex. So save this file. Okay. I will not save it, of course, because my original file was correct. I'll just say no, but in your case, save it. The change is again on this slide. So instead of Hadoop bin path being this, the Hadoop bin path will be set to this. And then we can check whether pig has been installed successfully. For this, open a new admin prompt. Okay, don't open an ordinary DOS prompt or command prompt. Open with the admin privileges. So it should show you Apache Pig version, so and so. Once again, after you reach this step, just let me know by raising the hand so that we can try running one sample code. If many of you are able to do this, if many of you are facing problems, then maybe we'll have to look at the problems first. Okay, Shubhavi seems to have got it running. Nirmit, you are getting this because your Java may be in program files. This is running, but It's just giving you a warning for Java, which is okay. You can ignore it. So as long as Pig is showing you the version, that is fine. Other than Shubhavi, who else is able to see the Pig version now?
So I'm using Ubuntu, so installation steps are different or are the same?
No, they are exactly the same. Instead
If
of the
I
command
location
file,
of
you'll have to just check, what is the difference.
oh, yes sir.
Okay, Shubhavi, fine. Let me know once you're able to do it. Okay, maybe we'll utilize this to take our break. So 8:55, maybe we'll resume in say around 15 minutes from now, 15 to 20, depending on whether you are able to install, not install. So if you can't solve the problem, instead of trying maybe whatever just send me the screenshot of the error on the individual chat, not on the common meeting chat, and let me have a look. So, and once you're able to do it, if let's say you are able to install, just raise your hand. So either way, I'll check in another 15 minutes or so. Uh, Many of us are able to install, we'll straight away resume. If you're not able to do it, in the meanwhile, anyway, would have looked at some of the problems. Accordingly, we will proceed. Okay, so we'll start once again at say around 9:10 to 9:15 or so. Hi everyone, let's resume our session. So I can still see only a couple of hands raised by Akash and Nishmita, Nishkam, Nirmit, Satvik, Shruti, Ashmi, Altaf, Amisha, Oran. Since no one has also reported any problems or errors, I don't know what is happening, whether you are trying or not. So I'll leave it to you. Just proceed with the ones who have been able to maybe install this. Okay, so let's start trying out some examples using Pig. So you could create a directory again for keeping the examples that we will try. In my case, I have a directory called as d:\code pig. I hope you can see the screen. And in that directory called as pig, I have created a subdirectory called as miscellaneous to keep the miscellaneous pig file. Okay. So you are, of course, free to decide your directory structure, but don't definitely put the code inside the pig installation folder. So don't put it in the pig any subfolder or the pig directory itself, which is the installation pig directory. So this pig directory has nothing to do with our installation. That is a completely separate folder, completely separate path. This is d:\code pig miscellaneous. Okay, so let's try out a few simple examples using the pig syntax. We'll come back to this after we try out an example or two. Okay, so there is this load statement. Let's see which one we'll try first and try this. So I'll upload a file called as one.txt onto our chat. You can use this file for our data purposes. It's very simple file. It's already there. Just replace it. So this one.txt file simply contains some core names and some other values. You can download this file in the same folder where you are going to keep your pig code, that is d:\code pig miscellaneous one.txt in my case. Okay, and then in the same directory create the source file, that is the code file called as one.pig. What does the file contain? So it says a is equal to load one.txt using pig storage. We will just notepad for We're doing A is equal to load 1.txt using pig storage in brackets in apostrophe inside apostrophe comma as f name, L name, mobile number, city, profession, all char array. Then we say dump A. Then B is equal to for each A generate f name, mobile number, city. We dump B. Then we have describe and illustrate. So save this file as 1.pig in this folder. Okay, so this is how you execute it once you are able to complete the code. So try running this command and see what happens. Okay, one point I had mentioned earlier, but I'll emphasize, make sure this is running in the admin mode. Okay, if your command prompt, especially in Windows, I'm saying, if it's not with the admin privileges, then you may not be able to run the code. It may give you errors. Similarly, in Linux, of course, you have the admin privileges. Yes, I'll run it here just to show everyone what should ideally happen. So as we can see, it produces a long list of messages. So effectively, what is happening is we are saying pig -x local. We want to run this in the local mode, that is not inside HDFS. In other words, on my machine, Hadoop is installed but is not running. So I'm running this in the local mode. So input file, output file, processing, everything will happen on the local directory, not inside HDFS. And for which file? 1.py. So it says trying the execution type as local. Then it has a series of messages which are auditing or logging type of messages. Sometimes we may require them if things are not working. But what we are mostly interested in is to look at the output. We'll show the output, then we'll come back to the code. So this is the first output that it has produced. Okay, so that's how, unfortunately, we have to look at the output inside Apache Pig if we use a statement called as dump statement. What is the code doing? It says A is equal to load 1.txt. So the data file that I had sent, it will try to load this file. So this is like an open plus read statement. So it will open and read 1.txt into what? Into a relation called as A. As you can see, the syntax is very, very simple. We haven't declared what is A. We haven't mentioned anything like a var A or variable A. We simply say A is equal to load. So at runtime, it will create this relation called as A by loading a file called as 1.txt using comma as the field or column separator. This is a standard keyword, pig storage. So using pig storage, comma, as, how do we want to interpret the input file? So we want to read the first column or field as fname, and char array is the string or text data type. The first field in the file will be attempted to be read as a char array called as fname, second field as last name, third field as mobile number, fourth as city, fifth as profession. If we look at the input file once again, this will be our first field, fname, only up to this point because of the comma. This will be the L name, last name. This will be the mobile number. This will be the city. This will be the profession. So it will do it for all the rows automatically. So there is no loop here or nothing to indicate that we want to read one record at a time in a loop or till end of file, nothing. Load statement will simply load the whole file at one go inside A. Of course, if you make any errors here in terms of the number of fields, data types, then you may get an exception, or even the separator is not matching. So if there is something wrong, we may get an error. And here, char array is of course not the only data type that we can use. There are usual other data types. So we will see a few in subsequent examples. Here, just to keep it simple, all have been made as char array. Then we simply say dump A. Dump is a statement which produces output in pig, but that output is not at all formatted. The output simply becomes a part of the general audit or logging statements that pig displays. So practically, sometimes it becomes difficult to distinguish between what is a audit log message and what is a part of the output. Okay, so we will see how to solve that problem also. But for now, dump will simply dump the output onto the screen. Then we say B is equal to for each. So this is now a for loop. For each A, that is for each row in this relation A, generate first name, mobile number, city. What does it mean? A already has all these fields and all the rows also. So we are saying now from these row column combinations like a table, we want to filter out only 3 columns: first name, mobile number, and city. Which rows we have not specified anything. So all the rows, all the records, but only 3 columns. And we want to store this in B. Then we say dump B. So just as we have dumped A, if we dump B, we should also see the output of B somewhere. That is only these 3 columns. And that's what we see here. So this is corresponding to dump B. And then we have describe A, illustrate A. So we simply want to know how does A look like. A, as we can see, looks like this. And then we say illustrate A. So show me an example of this row. It says for this row, this is how it looks like. Okay, so it's trying to show in a tabular format, but because the window size is small here, we don't see it formatted properly. And similarly, how does B look like, and an example of B. And the program ends. As you can see, reading data into pig is very simple. We have to simply use the load statement, specify whatever is the delimiter, specify the field names along with their data types, and dump statement will allow us to dump the output or show the output on the screen. And for each will allow us to work on one relation to maybe filter, to select only a few columns, whatever operations you want to do, you write those operations here. One such operation is generate. So generate is select which columns you want to select and store them inside B. So A does not change because of this, but B contains only a part of A. Then we say dump B. These statements are almost never practically used, okay? But since they do exist, just in case we have very, very long data sets with too many columns and we get confused, we can use this just to see whether we are making any mistakes here. So any fields are missing or any data is missing, we will come to know by way of describe and illustrate. Okay, so among those who are trying, how many of you are able to run this now? I'll look at the chat message, of course, which I think Tom would have sent, but how many of you are able to run this successfully? No one? What are the problems you are facing? What are the errors? Okay, just put them on the chat. I'll have a look. Okay, those who are trying, what problems are you facing? Anyone? Yes, I'm looking at the problems that some of you have mentioned. Hopefully, we will solve all of them. Okay, so based on what I know, couple of you are able to run this. Noel, Nishkam, okay, so in some cases, you have not started the command prompt in the admin mode. So make sure the command prompt is in the admin mode before you try running this. Second, look at the code in terms of the spaces. Some keywords are case sensitive. Okay, so things like pig storage, for example, you have to write exactly as it is mentioned. Okay, most of the other statements are not case sensitive, but pig storage keyword is case sensitive. Then grouping functions, which hopefully we'll see next time, those are case sensitive. If you don't give spaces, then also sometimes it gives problems. Spaces in the sense as I had shown in the code. So try out these things. Okay, I'll use this time to maybe um explain some background or theory, and you can continue trying whatever you can, and we'll continue our conversation on the individual chat. Those students who are trying but are getting errors. So, a couple of slides we will see. How does the code attempt to execute? So I have shared the screen again. So do let me know if you can't see the screen. So the pig Latin script that we write, for example, we have written one.pig. So that is taken up by this pig execution engine, and it passes this through multiple steps. So it parses it, it compiles it, it optimizes it, and it creates an execution plan. And then that is transformed into the equivalent MapReduce statement, and then that's handed over to the MapReduce engine inside Hadoop. And then MapReduce engine works with HDFS to get this done. In our example, of course, we have not used HDFS. So MapReduce will attempt to work with the local folder instead of HDFS. But what the pig engine has done without our knowledge is it has parsed the code, it has compiled it, has optimized it, it has created the plan, which means behind the scenes, all these things happen. And if it's not able to do any of these steps, and there is a problem with the code, then it throws errors. So for example, it cannot parse. So it doesn't find, let's say, the right syntax or semantics or right keywords. So it cannot either parse or compile. So it will give us an error. But optimization and planning, of course, these are the steps that it will do internally, and it will not depend on the programmer for these steps. And because it runs as a MapReduce job, that is why we see so many statements, almost as if we are running a Java or Python HDFS code. Similar to that type of series of lines, here also we see a similar output. Okay, so how do we exactly differentiate between Pig and MapReduce? So Pig is called as a data flow language, whereas MapReduce is called as a data processing type of language or paradigm. So here we focus more on the flow of data rather than the exact procedures. But again, this is not also like SQL, because there is a mixture of data flow and data processing. What we mean by this is, let's say when we have a load statement, that is like a data flow statement. So we load the entire file. But when we write a for each statement, it is like a MapReduce programming type of construct. Pig has actually both. It has this data flow as well as some part of data processing. So it is definitely high level type of coding as compared to a traditional MapReduce, which, as we know, is very strict, and it has to be written in a particular fashion. Then there are some other differences. For example, performing a join operation, join two or more relations in Apache Pig is very, very easy. We will see examples of that. Whereas it is very difficult to do this. And if you actually have observed, we haven't done almost a single example involving join in MapReduce. Okay, but here in Pig, it's far easier. So that's a big advantage as compared to MapReduce. As we would also notice, any novice programmer with a basic knowledge of SQL or any programming construct can very easily start working with Apache Pig. Our example, of course, was very basic, but even in slightly more involved examples, that's true. Whereas here, this is tedious. It's not very easy. You must know Java to a reasonable level. So here, it uses what is called as a multi-query approach. So we write less and less code to achieve the same thing, whereas here we'll have to write probably 20 times more the code. That is the estimate made by experts. So they say whatever you can do in close to about 20 lines on an average in MapReduce, you can achieve here in 1 line. There is no need for compilation, and on execution, every Apache Pig operator is converted internally into a MapReduce job. We don't compile, we don't do anything, we simply write and execute. If there is an error, of course, it will throw an error, we'll have to correct it. And internally, it will convert it into MapReduce. But here, as we know, it's a long process. Okay, so compile the code, create the jar file, make sure the coding also has a mention of the jar file, the mapper class, the reducer class, the main class, then set up the input file, then run the execution jar file to run your code jar file and produce the output. But here you only say pig and name of the file. But because we are doing this in the local mode, we are just adding -x local. Then how do we compare this with SQL? So Pig Latin is a procedural language, whereas SQL is a declarative language. So as I mentioned, in some cases, Pig Latin does appear to be declarative also. For example, when we say load, we don't specify how should that be loaded. Simply execute the load statement. So that is where it's more like SQL, more like declarative. But at other times, it is procedural. Example of which we saw in the form of for each statement. For each will allow us to process one row at a time if you want. Very important point in Pig, the schema is optional. So we can store the data without designing a schema. Like Hadoop, here also when we read the data, we associate a schema. So for example, we say first field is so and so, second field is so and so. So it's a read on schema, whereas SQL has both write and read schemas very mandatorily or compulsorily implemented. So you cannot say simply insert something into some table. And what is the structure of the table? I don't know. You must first create the table. You must specify the column names, their data types, everything in SQL. But here there is no such need. And the data model has a specific name in Pig that is called as nested relational, whereas in SQL it is flat relational. In other words, we implement normalization, we implement ideally up to at least 3 normal forms. We make sure there is no nesting, no duplication, nothing. But in Pig, of course, there are no such restrictions. So it's called nested relational. So one data set may actually include another. And because Pig internally optimizes the code apparently, we have less chances for query optimization. But in SQL, as we know, we can write very inefficient SQL on one side, and at the other extreme, we can make it extremely efficient also. But to do that in Pig, we have very limited opportunity. Okay, so in general, we can say that Pig is in somewhat middle of traditional procedural or object-oriented programming languages and SQL. So many people also call it as very close to what we call as a functional language, and that is what the buzz is all about. People in the developed world, at least, say that the model of object-oriented programming is approaching its limits, and what we actually require are functional languages, which means you simply code according to what you want to get done, rather than very strictly creating classes, objects, and relationships between them. So Pig falls into that category where we simply focus on what we want to do rather than how to do it, and also not to get into the tangling of a lot of complicated structures in the form of classes, objects, inheritance relationships, and so on and so forth. It's a very interesting way to program, but unfortunately, since I think many of us are getting errors, I'll try resolving those problems. I think some of you have sent screenshots, so I'll have a look at those screenshots or error messages. Okay. So let's see. Let's try resolving those problems, and next time then we will try maybe slightly more advanced big code. Of course, just in 2 hours we will not be able to do really complex examples, which is okay. I just want you to be familiar with the big programming concept. What do we mean by a functional language? Where is the world moving in terms of MapReduce programming? So instead of the traditional MapReduce programming, what is being preferred and why it is being preferred? So that's all for today. Any questions before we stop?
So,
Yeah.
so I have sent you an output in personal chat. Can you have a look at it? Because I feel like there are some special characters being added when it's sending and returning an output.
All right, I'll check. Okay, so whosoever, of course, has reported any problems or getting stuck on the individual chat, I'll definitely have a look. And if something is not clear and you also want more detailed explanation, feel free to let me know. We can even have a one-on-one call offline, and I can try and explain. Any more questions? Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. Next week, as I had mentioned, I was debating between more MapReduce Java examples and big examples. I think it's now very clear that we will have to take a few big examples. We're able to complete only one today, but that does not disturb anything from your exam preparation perspective, because whatever we have done for Java MapReduce is more than sufficient for your external exam questions also. Okay, that is very clear. So you don't have to worry that they are utilizing some time of that for Apache Pick. On the other hand, I would actually say this hopefully will be more useful for you from a practical perspective. All right, so with this, let's stop. Thanks for all your contributions. Take care and have a good weekend. See you next Saturday. Okay, until then, bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.